An exclusive CBC News investigation has found Ottawa's largest public school board ignored repeated warnings about teachers at one high school, teachers who were later charged with sexually assaulting dozens of teenagers. 2 teachers died before their trial. 1 is in prison. As Julie Ireton reports, victims want to know why the board failed to protect them.
Peter Hamer feels uncomfortable being back at Bell High School. That was where his music teacher, Bob Clark, exposed himself to him and tried to touch him.
And that was just hunting ground for Bob Clark.
In 1986, Hamer told the principal. He says the principal told him Clark would be moved. Clark was transferred to another Ottawa school where he sexually assaulted Mark Leach in the 1990s. Now the 2 men have met and they're both looking for answers.
He was telling me that something similar happened to him and he reported it, and he felt guilty because it happened to me.
It was really very sad because I thought nothing that I did stopped Bob Clark.
CBC has learned that in the 1970s, something similar happened with Bell High's basketball coach, Don Grenham. He too was moved to a different school shortly after a student complained. One legal expert says this was not unusual in the 1970s and 80s.
Very, very few abusers were held to account, and in fact, the common practice in the early period you're talking about would be to dismiss the teacher, but to send him on effectively to another teaching position.
CBC found no evidence school board officials notified police or carried out thorough investigations when initially warned about these cases. Charges were only laid after victims of a 3rd Bell High School teacher went to police in 2016. Music teacher Tim Stanitz had been hired to replace Bob Clark after he had been moved. Stanitz killed himself before his trial. Basketball coach Don Grenham also died before his court date. Bob Clark is now in federal prison. The Ottawa-Carleton District School Board refused CBC's request for an interview. It says it cooperated fully with police when charges were laid. Julie Ireton, CBC News, Ottawa.